All right, continuing our preview of the NFL draft, we're going with the sweet spot of the draft, and that's the wide receiver position. Now, this wide receiver position is deep, loaded with talent. It's not going to be the elite talent that's going to come out in 2021, but it's deep. It's probably the deepest wide receiver draft in the last 20 years. So we're going to start out with the consensus number one that a lot of people and experts have on their board, Jeudy. Jeudy is probably the best route runner in this draft. He's tall. He's a good possession receiver. And like I said, if you run routes well, you're going to succeed in the NFL. And he is going to be a good number one receiver somewhere. And he performed well in Alabama, in the SEC again on a big stage against the top defenses. My only concern with him is that he played, a lot of his production came from the slot. When you play the slot, you don't deal with other teams, their best corners. You're mostly dealing with their lesser corners as well as safeties and linebackers. So you have mismatches. So a lot of production came from that slot position for him. So I'm a little concerned about that. I prefer him to play more on the outside and have more production there. But he's good, great route runner. So he's going to still perform in the league, and he has the size, speed, and weight to get separation and make plays. So he's going to be, I'm fine with him, and these experts listing him as a top receiver. They have him pretty much consensus as number one. Then they also have CeeDee Lamb up there as well. CeeDee Lamb, top player at Oklahoma, was very, very beneficial for Jalen Hurts and his stats. He played outside a lot, which I prefer to the slot position. So you can tell that he went against upper tier college corners, and he performed well. So he's also a big, strong receiver. His game is gonna transcend pretty well to the NFL. He can play on the outside. He can make contested catches. So I like CeeDee Lamb and his transition. None of these guys right now have the elite traits that a Calvin Johnson or a Randy Moss did, but both Lamb and Jeudy will be solid pros and can be number ones on teams. The experts have pushed up Henry Ruggs a lot, and I love Henry Ruggs. I love speed. Speed kills, and Henry Ruggs has it for days. With the way the league's rules are right now, you can't touch wide receivers. You can't breathe on them. So he's going to create separation no matter where he's on the field. You can have him outside. You can have him in the slot. You can have your best corners on him. He's going to break them, and he can hit a home run on any play. So if he goes to the right team with the right quarterbacks, you might have a fantasy stud. His game is compared to Tyreek Hill. We know what kind of damage he's done in the league. Henry Ruggs is one of my favorite receivers in the draft. He's going to be an instant playmaker. So whichever team gets him is going to hit a home run early. But he's in my opinion, he should be the number one receiver on every team's draft board. And I could see him going in the top 12 picks. He should be the number one receiver on their boards. Next, in my opinion, is Denzel Mims from Baylor. Late bloomer, had a good season last year, and I had a good last couple of months as far as the scouting process. Had a great combine. Showed off his speed. I believe it was 4.39 or low 4.4s. But he's tall. He has a decent weight. He can make contested catches. The main knock on him was his drop passes last season. He had a bunch of them, but it turns out that he was playing with a broken hand. So that'll do that to you. That'll cause drop passes when you're favoring your broken hand. But he has as much upside, if not more, than Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion. So there's not that much separation from those two receivers to Denzel Mims. I think he could be a star in the league, but again, he's going to have to watch those drops, put on some more weight, and become more of a red zone threat in the league to be a star receiver. But he does have the traits to do so. Now, number 5 on my list is Brandon Aiyuk from Arizona State. Now, a lot of people don't get to stay up late and watch Sun Devil games. So looking at all the highlight films and all the footage of his games, big receiver, can play on the outside, runs about a 4.5 40. But he can also he also makes plays as a possession receiver. So he's big, strong, can make plays. He's battled some injuries, but he's a playmaker. You can put him outside, you can put him in the slot. When you need a play, he should be open for you. So Brandon Aiyuk is a guy that can step in the league. Now, in my opinion, Brandon Aiyuk, Denzel Mims, there's not that much separation from Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb to those two. So, you know, when you can pick those guys later in the first round or in the second round, that's more value than picking Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb in the top 15, and they might offer same or better production. But Denzel Mims, Brandon Aiyuk, I think could be big time playmakers, and they may both have more upside in the league than Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb. A couple of other receivers. Like I said, it's a deep draft. Just wanted to go over them very quickly. Justin Jefferson is a guy that's thrown into a lot of top 5 receiver drafts. Good player. I've even heard the Michael Thomas comp for him. My concern with Justin Jefferson is he's tall, he's fast. I get all that, had a good combine. Now, the combine number supposedly was a lot faster. I think he ran in the 4.3s, was a lot faster than people have seen him run in, on game day. So a little concerning there. So I think that he has to go to a team that's going to use him in the slot, a big receiver in the slot, and take advantage of that. So you got to have 2 number 1 receivers and then use him there. You can use number 1s in the slot, but Justin Jefferson concerns me because a lot of his production came from the slot. Now, a respected analyst I like is Chris Sims, and Chris Sims has said that Justin Jefferson is a better version of Jeudy. That's high praise for Justin Jefferson. I don't know if that's true, but I do trust Chris Sims, and we'll see how that plays out. Being that he plays a slot a lot and that there were other receivers at LSU, I don't know if he'll have that same production in the NFL. So I took him out of my top 5. Other guys that I do like in the draft are Jalen Reagor, KJ Hamler from Penn. Both those guys have speed, KJ Hamler especially, and Reagor from TCU. Those guys are guys that you could put on the field, make plays, kind of like in the not so much T.Y. Hilton, but in that kind of vein. Those guys that can make plays, maybe a Deshaun Jackson, just smaller guys, speed guys that are there. Some other guys that I do like are Van Jefferson from Florida. Didn't get to participate in the combine, but he's surprisingly quick. Possession receiver, about 6 feet. So he can be a possession guy, a speed guy. He's a depth guy that'll start as a 3 or 4 receiver, number 3 or 4, and then maybe build his way up to a number 2. Another guy I like is Bryan Edwards from South Carolina. 6'2", 205, big possession receiver. Got injured last year, but for the game, for South Carolina, made some big plays. He can be a number 2 in the league if all pans right. One guy that I really think can be an upside guy, but it'll take a couple years, is Donovan People-Jones from Michigan. Came out as a 5-star recruit. The problem was his game never grew at Michigan. A lot of that was the poor quarterback play and the system they ran there. Just wasn't built for him to progress as a wide receiver, but he has all the tools. He's tall, he's big, he's fast, very fast. So I think that a team's gonna draft him late, maybe in the earliest 3rd round or 4th or 5th, and then stash him for a couple of years and develop him, because he could turn out to be a star at the wide receiver position. Again, tall, good build, fast. He has all the traits. He was a former 5-star recruit, one of the top recruits in the country, but he just hasn't progressed because of Michigan. And I feel bad saying that, because I love Jim Harbaugh. He was captain comeback for the Colts back in the day, but they didn't do DPJ any favors. But hopefully he'll have a better career in the league. But like I said, a deep receiver. You're gonna get starters through the 5th round. So any team that picks a receiver should expect them to be a starter early in their career.